I try to break it down very simply for people. Somebody has like a job, right? They go to work 9 to 5, they work for the man, and let's say they make $90K a year, which is pretty decent income, or even $100K a year. Could I replace my income doing house flipping? And I'm like, the average profit nationwide on a house flip, gross profit, is $41,000. So if you did one house flip per quarter, you would create about $165,000 in active income. Welcome back to the Seven Figure Flipping Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Whitney, and I've got a really special guest today because he's a friend of mine. I consider him friend and family at this point. Lyle Spann, one of the top investors out of Tennessee, who's doing really cool stuff that I can't wait for you guys to hear about. Lyle, welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you, my friend. It's good to be here, man. Good to see you.
Cool. So you were on episode 683 or 686, which was about 2 years ago. And I'm really curious, just like a quick snippet on, like what was your journey into real estate, but what have you really been doing in the last 2 years? Can you catch us up to speed?
Yeah, for sure, man. God has been good doing some different things than we were 2 years ago. That's for sure. And definitely have grown. So got into real estate investing. Quick recap. I actually worked in acquisitions for another investor that I know, and kind of worked for him for a couple of years, part-time and then full-time, and ended up branching off on our own 4 years ago, I guess, coming up on 5 years ago. So straight flipping, right? I'm flipping houses and very happy with that and kind of the progress that we had there. So since then, 2 years ago, we were pretty much just flipping. Had, I think, maybe a rental or two at that point. So at this point in time, we are still flipping 20 to 25 houses a year is kind of where we like to be. But we are also building self-storage units. So I have a partner of mine who is, builder, GC, but he's also a licensed builder. So we bought 6 acres and we're building some self-storage units with some boat slips and stuff on the back, actually right across the border down in Mississippi. Really exciting to do that. And then also we are building 24 apartment units in West Tennessee. So with a different partner, one of my good buddies that I met in Seven Figure Flipping, actually, Ryan Sackstetter, and we bought a church there that we are renting out. And it came with property on it. So we're building apartments on it. So those are a couple of new things that we're doing. We also have an Airbnb in Gatlinburg, Tennessee that we're almost done renovating, or you can keep as a short-term rental, and have a very small portfolio of long-term rental properties as well. So definitely moving parts, man. Some other businesses outside of real estate investing that we have started in the last couple of years. So, man, definitely not lacking for things to do. That's for sure.
Well, let's hear about that. So you added some verticals, I think roofing, right?
Yep. We have a roofing business, which I could probably spend a little more time than we want on why that made sense and how that's going and how low the overhead is compared to the potential and the returns that we have. But the newest one is a water restoration business, and that one has been taking off. So super stoked about that. Pipes burst or any kind of water issues, right? Water mitigation companies come in, water restoration companies come in and make sure that they dry everything out and demo anything that any damage that's been done and get it ready to be put back together. So that's been something that's been eye-opening and has really like taken off. We're heading into winter too, so.
Oh yeah, so there'll definitely be some opportunity for the water restoration business. I think this is really fascinating because you've grown so much. Like you guys have built such a strong business, and instead of like chasing 100 or 200 flips, like some, we got people in our community doing a couple hundred flips a year. You decided to add some verticals and build what our friend Andy McFarland would call our financial moat. So you're buying assets that are going to kick out cash. I think that's really, really cool. But like 5 years ago, did you have the skill sets to do this? Like but you were just a house flipper. How did you get all these business skill sets?
Yeah, it's a great question. So No, first of all, I never even considered being an entrepreneur in growing up, and then when I was in the corporate world, never even crossed my mind until I got a glimpse into real estate investing. Working for the investor that I work for. So I would say I definitely developed skills and a network too. Our network has been huge that we have developed over the time, flipping houses and the relationships that we've built. And being in Middle Tennessee here, I'm born and raised here, and a people person, right? A relationships guy, playing every sport known to man, right around here. I've been able to tap into that network that I have been right growing unknowingly, right, for my whole life that I've been able to tap into as we have grown our business and started other ones. So, but I mean, no, to answer your question in short, 5 years ago, had some of the pieces in play, right? And some of the characteristics, some of the skills and talents, I think that definitely have helped, but have really honed those in, right? As we've got systems and processes, as I've owned a business, as I've managed people at a greater capacity than I did in the corporate world. Like it has all been building, right? To where we are now, having multiple businesses and moving parts all over the place. But God has been a big part of that too. It's a huge part of our lives, and I certainly give Him credit for putting the people in our lives and giving us the opportunities that we've had so far.
Yeah, I mean, without him, I wouldn't have a cool sparrow hat. I don't have it on today. I should have repped it today, but
where's the proof of this hat?
Well, let me say this because I was a military guy, which I had some leadership skills, some planning skills that come with that. But what I didn't expect getting into house flipping and the real estate investing industry was how much it would develop me as a business leader. Like the systems, the process, like the things that we do inside of seven figure flipping that, like, hey, we're talking about business operation systems, like everything from marketing to front end to back end HR and finance, like, and we're implementing it in what's, realistically a pretty challenging capital intensive business, which is house flipping. Obviously big reward if you do it well. But what I found was that skill set, like, made me a really, really effective business owner, more so than a real estate investor. Now, of course, we learned to go get deals at incredible value and add value and do all this cool real estate investing. But honestly, I think the biggest thing I've gotten, at least in my 4 or 5 years here at Seven Figure Flipping as a member, is the business chops. Like, I didn't know KPIs and systems and processes like I do now, and they apply to every different kind of business. So I'm just that was like my thought. It's like, wow, like you were already pretty solid. You had a good picture of it inside somebody else's real estate business. Then you built a great business yourself. You're phenomenal at partnerships. And then you're able to just like take all those skills and parlay them into verticals that match really well with what you're already doing. So I think a lot of that is, us as real estate investors end up being actually really, really good business owners. What are your thoughts on that?
I couldn't agree more, man. And real estate investing, right? You're a small business owner, right? You're having a small business, even if it looks different than a restaurant or something else. But you nailed it, Adam. The skills that you learn, whether it's problem solving skills, right? We deal with conflict all the time. Whether it's pivoting to different seasons and different fluctuations of whatever market you're in. Again, whatever business you're in. There's so much that you learn in real estate investing. Very helpful. That just translates into owning other businesses. So definitely agree, man. I'm a testament to that, right? Roofing and water restoration, again, never anywhere on my radar prior to real estate investing. But I'll also add, real estate investing was mine, and I would be willing to say probably a good portion of people's first exposure to entrepreneurship. Obviously not everyone, but it was my first exposure to it. So seeing the value of not working for the man, right? Not having to depend on, a W-2 and a 9 to 5, so to speak. That opened my eyes outside of just real estate investing, but other opportunities there are for, business ownership and entrepreneurship. And without that, I never would have even considered having a roofing business or water restoration business.
Yeah, what's crazy is I try to break it down very simply for people. Somebody has like a job, right? They go to work 9 to 5, they work for the man, and let's say they make 90K a year, which is pretty decent income, 100, even 100K a year.
Yep.
And they're like, "Well, could I replace my income doing house flipping?" And I'm like, the average profit nationwide on a house flip, gross profit, is $41,000. So if you did one house flip per quarter, you would create about $165,000 in active income. So one flip per quarter, like you just said, you do 20 to 25 a year, and you're like, that's cool. Like that's plenty for me.
Yep.
But an average person who would want to get into the industry just to replace their active income, which, by the way, my 2 cents is you're not going to rental property your way out of your W-2 most likely. It's going to take you forever to do that.
For
But you
sure.
can replace your active income, in my opinion, with just really 4 flips, one a quarter.
Yeah.
Would
Obviously,
you?
obviously, you got to buy the right ones, right? And you got to hit those margins.
Sure.
But yeah, absolutely doable, for sure. And the sky's the limit, right? You build out systems
Yeah.
and processes, and you do 8, right? Then what can you do? How much can you give? How many people can you help? What kind of stuff can you do for your family, right? If you're doing that.
Yeah, totally. And what's so funny is I'll just give you this, like last year, 2024, our margin was like not great, being completely honest. We had some, but it wasn't great. We did a lot of deals though. So in Q4 of 2024, we're like, let's burn this down and like figure out like only thing we want to focus on is net profit. And what's really cool is we've been really, really profitable this year. We've donated like $30,000 to the 7-Figure Foundation. And me and Lindsay went into Mexico and built houses, like total life-changing event for us. Like the ability to give and do God's will in that kind of way felt so rewarding and fulfilling. And dude, I probably cried like 6 times after doing that. Like just, in my mind, just a lot of gratitude, but also, I think, why me? Why do I have so much and they have so little? That's how I felt. And it just makes me more compelled to give and contribute, and I know you guys do a lot. So talk about what you've done from a giving perspective, what you're doing in your church, and like how has real estate and this business endeavor allowed you to strengthen your family, your position with God, give to your community, like service, impact, legacy, right? Like that's what we like to talk about a lot in our community. I'd love to just hear what you're doing on that front.
Yeah, I love that conversation, Adam, and talking about it, man. I'm gonna do my best to lock it up and not shed a tear or two here. But I'm so grateful to you, man. God has been so good to us. We're blessed, right? And trying to show our kids as well, that we are blessed, but there are other people who aren't as fortunate as us, right? And giving back is so important, right? And being kind and caring for people. So real estate investing, it is completely blown up our ability to give back, right? And that's not just financially, but our time too, right? As we have time freedom to do some things that you just mentioned, going and building houses in Mexico, right? I've been on a couple of events with 7-Figure Foundation, but man, in our community, we are very active in our church and our community with our time. I'll tell you a little bit about that, but our resources too. I was talking to a buddy of mine who actually is a minister, really cool dude. His name is Jamil McLaurin. We were talking. I'm not a preacher, Adam. Nobody wants me to get up and preach. I can promise you that. Like that's not a calling I have in my life. But he was telling me, man, that the Bible talks about kings and priests, and that not everyone is going to be a priest. Not everyone's going to be a king. And the metaphorical king, right, is what he was alluding to, is that some people are going to go preach the gospel. Some people are going to go, do full-time ministry, things like that. And then some people are going to financially support the kingdom, right? And they're going to give in other ways and do other things. And that's where we feel our calling is, man. And we feel like God opened the door for us to even start our business for the reason of giving back. So that's been since the inception. So sparrow, see it here, up here, comes from Matthew, where God's eye is on the sparrow. Like it doesn't slap you in the face with Jesus, but hashtag if you know, you know, right? But so the foundation of who we are, we've always been wanting to give. Even before I left my W-2, my wife and I had giving goals as our New Year's resolution instead of some kind of crazy, or 5 or 6 different little things we can do individually. We had a family giving goal. So always been something on our hearts, and that's a reason we connected with Seven Figure Community so well when we came to our first Flip Packing Live in 2021. Is that's a huge undertone, right? Not undertone even, right? It's a huge prominent thing in the community.
It's purpose, man. Yeah,
it's exactly right. We can't take any of this with us. My pastor used to say, you don't ever see a hearse with a U-Haul behind it. Like you can't take anything with you, right? But anyways, to kind of hold it in a little bit, we serve at our church. We're actually over our what we call our first impressions team at our church, which is our welcome team, our greeting team, our parking team, our coffee team. And then we have a place we call The Point, where it's people can come and get information about our church or buy some merch or different things. So all those categories fall under Abby and I and the team that we lead. So, people say, Adam, you've seen businesses and all kinds of stuff. It's, depending on who you listen to, sometime between like the first 10 seconds and the first like 3 minutes that someone goes somewhere, they're going to decide if they come back or not, right? That first impression matters.
Oh, yeah.
So, and we love relationships. We love people. So we're right up front when people come in. Hey, how are you? Welcome. It's your first time
here.
You're
the best. That's your like calling for sure, man. Like you are probably the best networker I know. And that's such a good spot for you and Abby. By the way, people don't see Abby on here, but she's like the most welcoming, humble, kind, gentle, loving lady you'll ever meet in your life. She's so like, you just feel so pulled and drawn to her. Like, oh, you just make me feel so warm, Abby.
Bro, you nailed it. And gentle is a word people use for her often. She's just a kind, gentle person. She's a good human. She's just a good human, right?
Yeah.
I tell people I'm a prankster. I'm a jokester. I like jokes, which we'll tell one here in a little while. But I tell people the biggest prank I've ever pulled was getting her to marry me. Like this is, yeah, she is. And to your point, man, we do feel like we are fit right in our church. That's like where we're supposed to be. Again, I'm not going to be preaching. I'm not going to be doing different things, but bro, we can welcome people, right? And make sure that when they walk in those doors that they feel at least comfortable, right? And they feel that warmness, and that hopefully opens up their minds and their hearts for, God to do whatever he has in store for them, on that day. But, in addition to giving of our time and serving, and our girls come and they'll help, right? They got their little badges with their names on them where they're welcoming people and stuff too. And they're able to see that. But also, we give financially to our church and to other organizations because of the blessings that we've been able to have. And that's just, it's not possible for us at the capacity that we're doing it without having the real estate investing business that we have and the active income. So you mentioned rentals aren't going to, you're not going to quit your W-2 off of rentals. It's true, right? You can gain equity and you can have some passive income, some tax benefits, but you're not going to replace your active income that way. So flipping has been, just absolutely incredible for us for many ways. And the ability we have to give financially is a huge piece of that. So we do some other stuff in our community too. We volunteer some other areas, just big believers in being in the community, right? The church is not a building. The church is
you volunteer pretty routinely to try to win every morning, I feel like, at the pickleball courts too.
Anyone who wants to smoke on the pickleball courts, Adam, I'm there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5:30.
I know you.
Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Between you, Bill, and Dave, I don't know. It's dangerous. I don't think I can compete with that. I need a lot of practice first. So, so let's go. Let's just circle back real quick and touch on this this new construction stuff you're doing. You have you have basically like some townhouses or apartments you're building. Then you have some self-storage. Those are totally different worlds.
Yep.
Talk about the game plan for each of those and what you believe is going to happen on the exits of those.
Yeah. So we'll start with the self-storage units. This kind of came about my partner. So we do flips in Mobile, Alabama as well. So anyone who's not familiar, we're mainly in Middle Tennessee. We do flips in Mobile, Alabama, and then the Bloomington, Indianapolis area of Indiana. My partners in Mobile that we have flipped with, the licensed GCs, and they've more recently got their builder's licenses. So they've done, with their GC business, they have done a lot of commercial projects. So they have a lot of connections, a lot of resources to just building or commercial construction. So they brought it to me. They're like, hey, have you ever been interested in self-storage units? And I was like, yeah, I've looked at several to buy on the multifamily side. For one reason or another, the numbers never, really panned out over the last few years. They said, what do you think about building them? So I was like, tell me more. So we dove into it and we spent probably 90 days at them. They put together a whole bunch of information for me. They got materials for everything, right? Dirt work, doors, like literally construction costs for the entire project. They had 10 parcels of land that they thought would be good opportunities or good places to build. And we had our favorite one, right, that we were going to pursue. So they had all this together. And since they're my partners and we're partnering on this project, we're building for our cost. There's no cost plus here, right? There's just their piece of the pie is coming from the equity, the passive income we're going to have as long as we keep them within the equity they have. So in a nutshell, man, looking at the numbers, we did a market analysis. We saw any storage units that sold in the last year within a 45-mile radius of where this piece of land that we ended up going under contract to buy. And it was a no-brainer to build them. So if you want to know the numbers, I'll give you high-level numbers. We bought 6 acres in Lucedale, Mississippi, which when I tell you how much we bought the 6 acres for, compared to what land is here in Middle Tennessee, it's mind-blowing.
Like 50 cents an acre out there.
I wish. Not quite that good, but 6 acres for $100,000 on the nose.
Wow.
And so we went under contract to buy the property. We've already closed on it, right? And started on dirt work and all that kind of stuff. But $100,000, it's going to be a little over $600,000 in construction costs. Okay. So it's to actually build it. So we're at a little over $700,000 within our land and our construction costs. So our holding costs, right, our money costs and our holding costs while we have it, going to be somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000. So you're looking at, just call it $775 if you want to be conservative, right? All in.
Yeah.
And dude, these things, 73 units, climate controlled, all climate controlled, right? Brand new self-storage units. They should have priced for like 1.3, 1.4 million is what they should have priced for when we're doing them, based on, again, the market analysis that we did. So, you're talking about we're all in for like 55%, right? Give or take of what these things will be worth. So,
I suspect it's going to cash flow pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, rough numbers there. We're going to have somewhere between $4,000 and $4,500 a month in, like when we refi, in between our insurance, utilities, and what we're going to owe on our, refinance loan. And fully occupied, the 73 units fully occupied, I think it's like $9,700 a month that it would bring in fully occupied. But we got 6 acres. So that's not even including the boat slips, the income that we're going to have from the boat slips that we're going to have there. I got a couple of people who have dumpster companies who have talked about renting a small portion of it to keep some of their cans.
RVs, you name it.
Correct. So there's like 3 bodies of water within 20 minutes of this piece of land. So, really the numbers were just like a no-brainer, right, to build them. It's going to take, I think, somewhere between 3 or 4 months is our projected construction time. We got holidays in the winter coming up, so we're going to have some delays there. But, yeah, so that's the numbers on the storage units. Super excited about that. Whole goal,
it sounds great.
Keep them for 5 years, 7 years, whatever the case is, right? And then if we want to exit them at that point, we can. So super excited about that. And then apartments, completely different, right? Ryan, I mentioned Ryan Saxtetter is a good buddy of mine. We had looked at some multifamily stuff together, some storage units, buying some apartments together. Really good guy, by the way, another good human. Thankful for him too. But we ended up, man, in Lexington, Tennessee, so West Tennessee, almost to Jackson. I have a lot of friends of mine there, and some friends of mine know what we're doing, right, in real estate. One of them was a pastor of a church there, and they were going to sell their church. So tell you the quick story is they had a little over 2 acres beside their church that they had cleared to build on. And someone in their community gifted them a piece of land several miles up the road, like 5 miles up the road, that they ended up building a brand new church on. So they kept their old church and just been renting it out to another church and just letting them use it, right? Well, they wanted to add on to their new church, but before that, their board wanted them to sell the old church, right, to go ahead and get that off the books and have that capital. So before they even listed or anything, one of the church who was renting it was supposed to potentially buy it, and they backed out. So reached out to me, just said, "Hey, Lyle, I know you're in real estate. Before we list this thing on the market, I thought I'd see if there's any interest for you." So took a look at it. Ryan and I looked at it, man, and just the numbers made sense. So we bought the church. So it appraised for $600,000, the church and the land. They sold it to us for $450,000. That's what they had agreed to sell to the other church, right? So well, we've got this appraisal in hand, right? It's got land beside it. So we bought it, inherited the tenant. They've been covering our costs, continuing to rent this church out. And we are almost done with the plans to build 24 apartment units on this 2 acres. So almost through everything with the city. We've got our architectural plans almost done, civil engineering stuff almost ready to go. Like we're almost ready to break ground, right? And it's 2 12-plexes. So it's 24 apartment units that we're going to be building there. And we're going to keep those as well. So it should be good cash flow. We'll have some equity too if we want to or need to tap into that. But basically, that's going to be
How do you plan to fund it?
so we have construction loan that we are going to use for the construction, and then we have some private money that we're using for our down payment. Ryan and I will bring some money to the table if we need to. But as you know, man, we pretty much all the time for what we do in real estate investing, and happy to pay people, right? Interest, passive income to let us use their money in some of our projects. So should be about 18 months the whole time before we can refi out and get those things rented out. So that's the goal, man.
It's incredible, man. Like I remember, I mean, we were at events in 2021, early 2022 together. And like, I mean, I was just in the community a year before you basically. And I just got to like, it's cool just to see people come up. And I imagine that's how Bill's been around forever since the beginning. So he gets to see like the development of all the people who come through our community, thousands of investors. Some become, like prolific real estate investors with multiple tools in their toolbox. Some go off to build software companies, but they all kind of like start and get these skills and these relationships, like you said, and it just really allows them to grow, their capital, their human capital, like their giving capital, like everything just kind of grows and evolves. It's just really cool to watch. It's insane. I'm fortunate, I sit across from Lindsay every day, and she was in a small group accountability with you. And she's like, man, you really need to talk to Lyle. He's doing some really cool stuff. I was like, let's get him on the podcast, man. I just love hearing his stories. So I'm grateful that you share that with the community. This podcast is like, we're creeping up on 1,000 episodes, over 1 million downloads. And this podcast makes a big impact. I think that is often underestimated. So when you come on here and you inspire people with what you're doing, in real estate, how you've grown, the cool stuff you've been able to evolve into with vertical integration, but also what you're doing in your community and in your church and giving and in your family is all very, very inspiring. And, those are the kind of people we want to be around. Obviously, action takers and people who are committed and not just interested, but also givers and folks who are humble and strong in their beliefs, I think is really important to us. Like we believe in service, impact, and legacy. And I think that, it's reflected in the people, which, Bill would tell you this too. And I believe this to be true. It's like we do life together.
Yep.
Like we do life together, and it's like a family reunion every time we get together. And I'm just so grateful for it, man. Okay, cool. What's your dad joke today? I got to get the dad joke in. For those who don't know, Lyle Spann knows over 2,342 dad jokes. They're memorized in his memory bank. I've never heard the same dad joke from him twice in 4 years. So what do you got for me today?
Maybe the nicest thing, the best compliment you've ever given me. Yeah. Hey, what do you call a moose that doesn't have a name?
A moose with no name. I'm not sure.
Anonymous.
Anonymous. Okay. Man, you got me. All right.
Hey, one more, because we're in season for one, Go Vols, and also we're coming up on Thanksgiving, right? Why was Cinderella bad at football?
Why?
Because our coach was a pumpkin.
Oh, hilarious. I get it. I get it.
So good.
Um, you heard our Peyton Manning story.
I'm sure you told me. Remind me.
Seller who was infamous for suing Peyton Manning when he
Yes.
mooned people at practice.
Yes.
We bought and wholesale their house.
That's right. Pretty much your best friends with Peyton Manning.
Yeah, basically. So I'm basically connected to the balls in that way.
That's right. Hey, I get you a vault too. You got a spare hat. I might as well have a vault set.
Oh, it's go blue all day over here.
Yeah, respect.
Michigan, baby. Cool, man. Well, hey, look, I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing. I think you're an inspiration to a lot of people, whether you know it or not. And of course, you're humble, so you'd never like that kind of crown. But it does inspire people. And if you think about the folks that you were listening to and kind of coming up, being inspired by, like, that's us now. That's you now. And it's just really cool that you're willing to come on here and kind of talk about what you're doing and inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs and house flippers.
I appreciate it, Adam, man. I think a lot of you too, man, and how you are, representing yourself and how you are running 7-figure flipping. Great community. So if anybody is listening and they, are on the fence about checking it out, it has been pivotal for us. That's for sure. In the networking, the community, for sure. Can I say 2 books that for anyone listening who's interested in a good book?
Yeah. Say two books, and then tell people how they can contact you and what how you might be able to do work with them.
Yeah, for sure. So 2 books that I love that are worth a listen for sure. One is called Go Giver, which several people have probably have already been exposed to. But there's another one called Faith Driven Entrepreneur, and that one has some really good principles in it too. So if you're looking for something new to read, check those out. For sure. Yeah, and if you want to connect with me, Lyle@sparrowrei.com is my email. We have Instagram as well. I think it's sparrowrei_ is our Instagram, Facebook as well, Sparrow Real Estate Investing. So you can hit me up. Check out our website, www.sparrowrei.com. We've got some content on there, some befores and afters if you like a good portfolio of some of the projects that we've done or learn a little bit about our team. But we'd love to connect with anyone who's looking to connect, for sure.
Awesome, man. Really appreciate you. Thanks for coming on the show. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Sounds good. See you, buddy.